Are you a daycare provider or a preschool teacher and your child is having a tantrum in the classroom and you're wondering what to do? Well, today I'm going to give you some tips of how to mitigate these sorts of situations. I'm Tiffany Bakke of The Self-Motivated Child, and today we're going to talk about some ways that you can prevent tantrums or mitigate tantrums from happening in the daycare setting or the classroom, preschool classroom, elementary school classroom. So sometimes you have children that are on the spectrum, or a child that has been diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder or hyperactivity, or a child that is autistic. And this child sometimes may be prone to tantrums simply because the child is, again, lacking the skills or lacking the language to be able to express what he or she is trying to say. And so to help that situation, help that child in that situation, there's some things that you can do. First thing is you want to declutter your environment. When you look at a Montessori classroom as opposed to a more traditional education setting, you will see that we do not have the walls covered in posters of different concepts of shapes and colors and the alphabet. Our body is constantly taking that in, that it can be very overstimulating. At the same time, we cease to see that information when it's hanging there all the time. So in the Montessori classroom, we try to keep the environment very aesthetically pleasing, very simplistic, very natural, and the materials uncluttered. And when we need to teach a certain concept, then we bring it out. So take a look around your environment. Do you have too much out that you can put away? Another thing that you can do to help a child that is prone to tantrums more easily transition is stick to your routine. And it may be that you have to stick to it very specifically. If it says 11 o'clock and you've told your children that you're going to transition at 11 o'clock, you need to prepare to transition them at 11 o'clock. So how does that look? How do you make that transition? Well, what I like to do is, even though my youngest children are not yet telling time, they can still learn the concepts of time. I always have an analog clock hanging on the wall, and I will draw their attention to the larger hand and say, when the big hand gets to 11, that's when we're stopping. I will often use a sort of bell or a rainmaker to transition. Other things that I have done is play music. I will start to play a song at the transition time, and it's a couple of minutes long, and children know that when that song starts, they have the span of the song to finish the work and begin to clean up. And when I slowly start to turn the volume down, that is their indicator that I'm ready to move on to the next activity, that I don't need to shout, I don't need to do these obtrusive things to break concentration or break work when children are in that midst of concentrating, but knowing that we need to transition. Another thing that I do is I have pictures of the schedule hanging. It has the analog clock next to it. It has the digital time as well. It has the picture and the words. And I go over that with the children, even the non-readers, but they can see that schedule. For a child that is on the spectrum that we talked about at the beginning, you may have a lot of picture cards to prepare that child to the transition, or giving the child different options of activities if they either they can walk around the classroom and look, or you have picture cards for them to be able to choose the activity. Now, meltdowns are going to happen because children are still gathering that language to be able to express themselves. Sometimes they don't exactly know how they're feeling, they just know that they're upset. So a way that you can help them is, you never want to have timeout, but you want to have a safe place that a child can go to calm down. Maybe you have a certain area in your classroom that is like the peace corner or the calming area. Maybe you've taught your children in the Montessori classroom that the only time they sit on the rug, because the rug is their table on the floor, but the only time they sit on the rug is when they're working on themselves. And the focus or their lesson is them calming down. And that indicates to everyone else in the room, I'm working on me, I'm calming down. And when the child does calm down, it's not on your terms, it's on theirs. You talk them through the situation of, you can sit here until you calm down, and as soon as you're calm, you can rejoin us. You can offer a hug. You can offer just a presence of sitting close to them if that's what they need. Sometimes you may have a stuffed animal to cuddle or a book to look at. But when they do calm down, you move on. Sometimes you can talk about it, but you want the children to know that those feelings are better out than in, and giving them the opportunity to express it. If you have the space, when I have a bigger environment, in my hallway, I will have a shelf that is like a movement shelf. So if a child does need to aggressively get some feelings out, I may have a pool noodle and a balloon hanging in some pantyhose from the ceiling that they can whack at to calm down. I may also have something to kick at that, again, is maybe a stuffed toy or something light that they can kick without damaging anything else in the environment. Maybe some rolled up socks that they can throw at a target. Just a place where they can get that aggression out without destroying or harming other things. Maybe you have cardboard that they can tear. Now, I do have to note that these ideas that I've taken are from a movement album that I bought from some Montessori teachers, and I will provide that movement album link so you can purchase some of these, or you can purchase this album from them. So, sticking to a routine, having picture cards, letting the feelings out, and providing a safe space for them. Those are some things that you can do to help with tantrums. If you have more suggestions, make sure you drop it down in the comments below. If you like what you have seen so far, be sure to subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, follow me on Facebook at Tiffany Bakke.